Morning. Morning, everybody. Great morning. Happy Monday to everybody. How you doing? Morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. All right, let's get into it. I'll just get into it. Happy Monday, everybody. Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. Let's talk about fear. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but you guys can hear me, right? Let's talk about fear. Let's talk about the illusion of fear, how fear consumes the mind of many. Now, this topic of fear is what I love to talk about most because it's literally the thing that stops people from going to different levels, right? Or even doing anything in life. Fear stops people from making decisions. Fear stops people from betting on themselves. Fear creates these limitations in people's minds, where it creates these limitations, where people start to create stories on what they're worthy of and what they're good enough for, based on what they've been told, based on their level of conditioning, based on what they prioritize, based on what they value, based on experience. You create these stories, you create these limitations, which then become your fears, right? Now you live life accepting these fears, meaning by accepting the fear, meaning this is what I'm afraid of and that's it. Now to address these fears, people think they have to be ready for it. To address these fears, people think that they have to prepare themselves for it, right? Mentally, I got to prepare myself to address this fear. I got this fear of doing this, so people spend an entire life looking for either the easiest way to go through their fears or developing themselves and preparing themselves to address these fears. Does this make any sense? So I have these fear, I have these limitations. I created these obstacles. And now I am the one who is looking to develop myself to overcome these obstacles. I need to be a certain person to overcome these obstacles. When in actuality, fear is the biggest illusion of them all. Doesn't exist, right? But everything in your mind says that what's going to happen is going to happen. Or, I'm afraid of what may happen, and because this may happen, it will stop me from making anything happen. Don't let what may happen stop you from making anything happen. That's one, right? Don't let what may happen stop you from making anything happen. So I got these fears, I got these stories, and I think I have to prepare myself to overcome these fears, right? I have to be a certain person. But these fears have been created by my own mind. The imagination and the stories I play out in my mind, and how I'm willing to justify my current situation depending on the fear that I've created. Think about it. I'm willing to accept this limitation that I've created for myself, because this limitation keeps me in a place of comfort and safety. This limitation that I've created keeps me in a place where I'm able to survive. My imagination says that I can survive within this position that I put myself in. But this keeps me in a position where it says, okay, I'm in this place where I don't have to address these fears, even if it's the move that I know I need to make. Even if it's the move that I know this is something I need to do. But no matter how much I need to do this decision, if I'm consumed with the fear, if I just accept it, then I won't make it happen. I'm not ready yet. I got to become the different person in order to do it. This is what people say. But fam, growth happens. You have to understand, growth happens in the beginning. Growth happens within the process of the decision. When you make the decision that you know you need to make, that's when growth happens. Which means this, the only way to end the illusion of fear is to actually see it for yourself. And for many people, they're looking for the courage. They're looking for the mindset work. They're looking for the books to read. They're looking for the courses to buy. They're looking for the words, or they're looking for the right moment in order to see it for themselves, because they don't feel like they can handle it. Again, because of the stories you've created. But the only way to overcome the fear is to see it for yourself. No matter how much I say that fear is the biggest illusion of them all, an illusion says, this is reality. An illusion says, this is real. This is what's going to happen if I make this decision. And no matter how much I would say, no, that's not true, or no matter what anyone says, oh, don't worry about it, fear is the biggest illusion of them all, it's like, yeah, it's an illusion, but it's an illusion that's very real for me. The fear is real for people. The fear is actuality for people. Though it is reality, it becomes one's actuality when they start allowing the imaginations to take over. So what does this mean? Is that whatever it is that you're afraid of, the moment that you see it for yourself, it all ends. The moment you make the decisions that you know you need to make and you see the fear for itself, because if fear is an illusion, and when you address the illusion and you see truth, it puts an end to the illusion. The moment you see the mystical magician levitating through the sky, and you don't see the wires, it looks real. The moment you see the wires, the illusion gets broken and they're no longer mythical, right? They're no longer magical. They're no longer special. That's the same thing with fear. With fear, the moment that you created all these stories to justify your situation, so now your situation makes the most sense to you. Your limitation makes the most sense to you. Meaning you're the only one standing in your own way. You created your own obstacles. If this was a video game, you've created your own video game with your own bosses and your own missions to do. And then you're looking to equip yourself, to prepare yourself to destroy these final bosses in this video game that you've created. It's literally like you've created your own game. Think about the makers of a game. People who create the shooting games or whatever game it is. It's like, okay, we're going to have these limitations and we're going to have to level up. It's literally creating your own game, creating your own reality. So you have all these fears, all these stories you tell yourself. You live within this limitation. You justify your situation. Your situation you're in right now is most comfortable to you. It makes more sense to you to be in this situation. I move like this. This is how much money I'm comfortable making. This is the environment I can handle. This is how much I'm able to take on at one time. This is how I want to move. I want to stay within this place. Fine. But then we get complacent, and with that complacency comes dullness. And with that dullness, that's when everything starts getting chaotic. That's when everything starts losing control. And that's when people fight hard to stay the same. Because everything around you changes, people change, things change, times change. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on? I no longer have control. This relationship is coming to an end. This friendship's coming to an end. No. Let me stop my growth. Let me stop to hold on. Let me stop to hold on to this environment. Because remember, growth is the beginning of the unknown. And now the fear, instead of seeing the fear for yourself, many people allow the fear to control the moves they make. The fear allows people to hold on and fight to stay the same. Think about what I'm saying. Hopefully you guys are following. This fear is making me stay. Oh, I want to hold on to this. While everything is changing, you're fighting hard to stay the same, so I won't have to address the fear. I don't want to see the fear for myself because in my mind, I put whatever it is I fear on a pedestal. So now it becomes important. Are you guys following me? The fear is on a pedestal. And I've overly promoted it in my mind that if I were to come across this fear, it's going to be extremely, extremely uncomfortable for me. But the only way to overcome the fear is to see it for yourself, because that's when it comes to an end, right? Because fear is the biggest illusion of them all. But if you're afraid to overcome the fear, then you're going to fight hard to stay the same. That means your current environment right now, your current situation right now, you will manipulate things. You will stop your growth. You will stop yourself from making important decisions you know you need to make just to hold on to the most comfortable situation as long as it can last. But it doesn't last because everything around you changes. The environment changes. Everything around you nothing stays the same. So while you're fighting hard to stay the same, the fear gets stronger the more time passes by. The fear gets more stronger. You promote it more and more and more and more and more and more. While you're manipulating your life in a way, maneuvering in a way to make sure that your limitations still make sense. So how do we address this? Do you wait? Are you supposed to wait until you're courageous enough to address these fears? Are you supposed to wait till the right time, the right moment? See, the moment that you see, and again, I can say fear is the biggest illusion of them all, but it doesn't change the fact that your illusion is promoted, right? Your illusion is very strong. It's your reality. In your mind, you say, no, this is a real big fear of mine. This is a real problem. What am I going to do? I don't really know myself and I don't really trust myself. So my situation makes the most sense. My current situation is the most comfortable. So what do we do? What's the solution? Is this even a problem? How do we address this? How do we allow ourselves to keep going? How do we allow ourselves to keep addressing fear after fear after fear after fear and not stop? Why do people want to stop? Why there's a moment where people stop? I want to stop growth. I want to stop success. I want to stop addressing these fears. I don't want to go too far because if I go too far, I will leave the environment I'm in. And I don't want to leave the environment I'm in. So if I don't want to leave the environment I'm in, and when I say environment, I just mean current position, right? Everything that makes this position comfortable. The further I grow, the further I go, the more I get more distant and distant and distant away from the environment that I've created. That makes me the most comfortable, right? The situation that makes me comfortable. This environment, this people, whatever it is I find comfortable, the more I grow, the more further away I go from that position, from this current position. So now if I'm playing this game where the idea of one day is more pleasurable than actually day one, if one day is more pleasurable, first of all, you guys following me? Give me some double hand emojis if you guys following me. I don't know who's on here, but give me the double hand if you guys following this slowly one by one. So if I'm playing this game where I limit myself, where I move with hesitation, then one day becomes more pleasurable than day one. I hope you guys following. One day is more pleasurable to me than day one. The pleasure of one day is more interesting than day one, right? It's much more pleasurable. So I'm living life with hope because the hope of addressing the fear becomes the priority. Because in my mind, the fear is so promoted, is so strong that I'm not who I am just yet to address this fear. Think about it. I got to be a better version for me. I'm not prepared to make this decision just yet. It's not the right time. That means in my mind, I'm not the person that's able to handle what comes this way. What comes my way when making this decision. Again, this is all just in your mind, right? So if I have no intention to grow because I'm limiting my growth. Growth is the beginning of the unknown. I'm limiting my growth because growing means stepping further away from the current position I'm in. That means I don't want to let go of this position. I don't want to let go of the people around me. I don't want to let go of the environment around me. I don't want to let go of the situation that I've built for myself. So now my life becomes, my life prioritizes one day. My life prioritizes the hope that I get out the situation more than the actual action of getting out the situation. So the hoping becomes much more pleasurable because hoping doesn't require responsibility. I can hope, right? I hope that I become a millionaire one day. You're all going to see. I hope that I become, I make $100 one day. You're going to see. I hope that I get to leave out of my parents' house one day. You're going to see, like these hopes, right? I hope that I get out this relate. I hope I find a better, I hope. So now I prioritize the hope. I prioritize the one day. It's much more pleasurable because I don't have to leave the circle that I'm in. And when I say circle, I mean environment. I mean, not just people, just the environment that I've created that's comfortable. I don't have to leave. So now I do everything I possibly can to look for this reassuring hope, right? I have as much conversations I read as much books, I listen to much videos, I write things down, I have the inspiration that one day I'm going to be courageous enough to address these fears. One day, I've just got to keep growing. I got to keep growing. I got to keep doing other things to get to my place where I'm ready. When in actuality, the only way to grow is to actually address the fear that you promoted. The most uncomfortable decision to make is the decision that you need to make. Because at that very moment, the moment the decision is made, the moment that you embrace whatever comes your way, the moment that you say, man, I got full control over how I react and respond to whatever comes my way. The moment that you realize that you're putting yourself in a situation where you will fail, where there will be setbacks, where there will be lessons, there will be adjustments that have to be made. The moment that you embrace that is the moment that you've grown instantly, is the moment that you've changed instantly. You've instantly changed. The moment you said, you know what? I don't know what's on the other side of this, but I'm willing to embrace whatever comes my way. Because you understand that the position you're currently in and all the limitations you've created is stopping you from actually achieving true freedom. You're not free if you're fighting hard to stay the same. Let me repeat that again because I think it went over people's heads. You're not free if you're fighting hard to stay the same. You're not free because you're limiting yourself from doing what it is you know you need to do. You're limiting yourself. You're afraid to put an end to create something new. You're afraid to receive something new. You're afraid to experience something new. You're afraid to be psychologically free. And freedom, because freedom is not free, right? Freedom is not free. Because with freedom comes a lot of things. And that right there is understanding yourself and understanding the growth that comes with every uncomfortable decision that is made. Understanding the growth that comes when you address these fears one by one by one by one by one by one by one. without hesitation, just to see what happens, just to see where you would be. But to stop your growth, to limit yourself, to limit your, to create, to accept all these limitations. Do we wonder why you continue to repeat the same mistakes? Do you wonder why you feel the way you do about yourself? Do you wonder why that there's problems in the mind that you haven't addressed and you continue to search for solutions, so you think when the actual solution is what's most uncomfortable? And what's uncomfortable is determined by you? Remember that. Because what's uncomfortable for you may not be uncomfortable for me. Because I may have made these decisions already. And I saw what it's like to put an end to those illusions. So now you may be in a position where you're like, man, this is an uncomfortable decision for me to make. I'm like, gotta make those decisions. Because there's nothing more satisfying than the ending of an illusion. And here's why. Let me say this. Let me say that again. There's nothing more satisfying. Let me rephrase that. Than the ending of a limitation. You created a limitation for yourself. And the moment that you see, holy shit, that limitation doesn't have to be there. That awareness, that growth, there's nothing more pleasurable than that. Where you thought, I thought it was going to be like this, and then it wasn't that way. Wow. Awareness, there's growth, instant. There's instant growth. It's like the elephant. It's like the elephant when it's first born, right? And you know, to train them to be in a circus, what people do is they tie them up to this small tree, right? They tie them up to the tree so the elephant can't move. And as the elephant gets older and it gets into a full-blown big-ass elephant, it's still tied up to a tree. And again, I'm not saying this is good, bad, right, or wrong for the people who love animals and they shouldn't be in circuses. Here's the point. Is the chain never changes. But the elephant thinks that because it gave it its all to get out of it when it was younger, it still thinks that the chain is powerful. So it doesn't break it when it can easily just break it. But it's been so conditioned, it accepts the fear, it accepts the limitation, that as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the chain is the same. They attach the chain to a small little tree where in actuality the elephant could just break it, but it doesn't because it's convinced themselves that, hey, there's no shot. I've been stuck to this tree since I was born. So I've been conditioned to accept this limitation. But the moment, do you know how satisfying it is? The moment, if that elephant just decided to just break away, it's like, holy shit, I could have done this a long time ago. So a lot of your stories that you create for yourself, you promote it, you put it on a pedestal, and you turn that shit up to 1,000. Which then justifies your situation and why you're in the situation that you're in. But then while you're moving in circles, looking for the best escapes, while you're moving in circles, wanting to move slow, while you're moving in circles, taking your time, one day, right, I need to grow into it, I need to be a better person into it, I need to do all these other things besides actually do it. You start to see that, hey man, this is not life, right? There's a reason why there's a lot of dullness that comes in when with stagnation comes dullness. Where you keep going in circles and you're wondering, man, there's so much more. Has anybody here ever felt just one day you woke up and like, yo, there's so much more. There's gotta be so much more. This can't just be it. I need something more. In actuality, what happened is, you've created all these limitations that's going on for most people. You've created all these stories of what you're good enough, what you're worthy of, what you're willing to do. So much fears that the fears is so deep that you're not even willing to address. But you tell yourself, You know what? Because I'm not willing to address that, I fight hard to stay the same. And once you realize that you're, okay, cool, you're doing a great job on staying the same, you tell yourself, yo, there's gotta be more. There's gotta be like, there's gotta be more. Why do you always feel like there's gotta be more? Because the decision you know you need to make, you're not making, and you're fighting hard to stay the same, and you're doing a great job. That means when you go too far, when you're growing too much, you'll stop. When you're growing too little, you'll work hard to go back. Think about this, fam. Think about it. Think about this real deep. I'm growing too much. Let me stop. You slow that down. But then when I go too low, whoa. Let me fight hard to get back. I'm going too low now. I'm going too back. I'm going too backwards. I'm losing myself a little bit. I'm getting too distracted. Let me get back. Let me get back into it. So then you have this burst of energy to get back to zero. So you don't want to grow and you don't want to decline, but you want to maintain, that's maintaining, right? But then you say there's got to be so much more. I got to have more. There's something more out of life. I need something more out of life. It's like, whoa, look at the contradiction that's going on. What if you never stop the growth? How far can you take the mind if you never stop the growth? How far can you go if you just continue to solve these problems and you just kept going and accept the consequences with those that comes with those choices? When you see yourself separating from the environment, when you see yourself separating from the crowd, when you see yourself separating, what if you just kept going? Ooh, what if you kept going? Walking down that lonely road. Walking down that road. It's a narrow road where a few people walk down. That narrow road of just never-ending growth where there is true freedom. Freedom of limitation. Freedom of needing anything and anybody. Freedom from just the known. Freedom from all limitations that you've created. Breaking away from all those limitations. So then now life becomes whatever it is you want it to be. So how much money do I want to make? Where do I want to live? Who do I want to meet? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? That right there is such a narrow road because so many people are afraid to go down this road because this road that you go down, there's a lot of things that must come to an end. There's a lot of things that you again, with growth comes separation. And there's a lot, it's continuous, right? There's a lot of things that you just keep going. It's like driving past a state or past a country. You're just driving past, you're just going straight on this road and everything's just passing you. You're there, but you're not there. You feel me? You're there, but you're not there. But it's part of the journey, right? It's part of the journey. You're there, but you're not there. And you're going and going and going and going. And these trees are passing and passing. You're there, but you're not there. That's what I'm talking about. But that's what someone who's afraid, who wants to stop. They want to stop. I want to stop. I'm going too fast. I want to stop. I'm missing it. I want to stop. I want to enjoy this. Cool. But with that stagnation comes a lot of time being wasted. That stagnation, you allow yourself to set yourself back. And again, what maintaining is not wanting to grow and not wanting to decline. I'm growing too fast. Let me stop. I'm declining too much. Let me work hard to go back to where I was. This relationship is separating a little bit. Let me bring it back together. Because I'm outgrowing it, but I don't want to put it to an end. So let me bring it together. Even though it no longer serves me anymore for what I need, for where I'm going. Powerful shit, man. This is what happened. This is the power of fear. The power of fear. And here's what I mean, the power of fear. It's so strong because it's created by you. Yes, psychological limitations are passed down, but the way you view something and you put it on a pedestal, And you're creating all of these stories that you think is going to happen. And the only way that the fear goes away is if you see it for yourself. And that's the part of the fear. I don't want to see that for myself because you think it's what's going to happen will happen. What may happen is going to happen is what you think. What may happen is going to happen. That's what people say. And like I said earlier in the live, don't allow what may happen stop you from making anything happen. But those fears are so strong. It's paralyzing, 100%. It stops you. It freezes you up. And the only way to overcome it is to see it for yourself. But if you see it for yourself, then that means you're getting rid of the known. You're getting rid of the situation you're currently in. You're getting rid of the environment that you've created. You're getting rid of the people that give you the most psychological comfort. The people that you use for psychological comfort. Isn't that interesting? We're willing to use people. We're willing to use people that give us psychological comfort. I don't want to leave this because this person helps me. They give me psychological comfort. This environment gives me psychological comfort. So I'm unwilling to take the responsibility. Fear, man. It's the biggest illusion of them all. And the only way the illusion comes to an end if you understand the process of how it works. And I always talk about the magician, right? The magician who does the coin trick. It's not so magical when you know that the coin's behind the hand. It's not so magical when you know that the coin drops behind your like, he throws the coin behind. It's not so magical when you know how the trick works. Just like fear. When you see it for yourself and say, oh shit, it's not what I promoted it to be. Think about how unknown, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. Think about how unknown, not unknown, I'm sorry. Think about how unlimited the mind is and how you promote a fear, right? It's not what you think it is, but that you turn that up to 1,000 because the mind is so unlimited. But if I do this, this may happen. But if I do this, this may happen. But then, but I'm not like this. But I don't trust myself. But what if, but the money. But what if the people, the environment. No, but because of that. Just think about how unlimited the mind is. Unlimited. And a lot of it is based on small little truths too, right? So you take a small little truth that may be true, but you turn that shit up to 1,000 because there's no limits in your mind of what you can create. And when you don't want to do something, you create more stories on top of the solutions, right? So this is the solution, and you're like, no. That solution doesn't make sense. And you look for every reasons to break down why you should stay the same. The mind is fucking insane. The mind is it's so amazing. Because you can literally tell yourself whatever it is you want to tell yourself and accept it as truth. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Whatever it is that you tell yourself. You tell yourself all these things and then you just embrace it and accept it as truth. And then you know what? You stay the same. You stay in the same place. Stay stagnant. You don't make the decisions you know you need to make. You tell yourself these things and you're like, oh, okay, you know, it's unfortunate. I'm stuck in this place. And you say, oh, I need help. I'm not where I want to be. It's like, yeah, really? You are exactly where you want to be. But to tell somebody that, oh, you're being an asshole. Oh, you're mean. But that's the best thing you can tell somebody. Because if you look closely, you're exactly where you want to be. Because the moment you don't want to be in a position, you get out of it. It's instant. But the fears, the only way, and I'm going to leave you with this. The only way to put an end to a fear is to see the fear for yourself. And recognize that you have full control over how you respond to whatever comes your way. Now, to see it for yourself is scary. There's some things that you would never see for yourself. I'm scared of sharks. I don't want to see the shark for myself. I'm scared of alligators. I don't want to jump into the water and the alligator eats me. I don't want that. So there's certain fears that because you have no intention to address them, again, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's because I don't want to see those fears for myself. I look to create a life around the avoidance of that. That means if I can avoid the sharks, if I can avoid the alligators, I will. Which means the fear is there and it doesn't go away. No matter what anybody says. No matter if I said, yep, I went swimming with the sharks. You're like, I'm never doing that. I'm scared of sharks. I'm not doing that. Which means you would never put an end to that fear. But now think about how many people are doing that psychologically and where they are in their life. It's like, don't want to see that for myself. So they create an entire life around the avoidance of that fear. In hopes one day the fear comes to an end. Who enjoyed this live, fam? How many of you got value from this live? Give me some heart emojis if you love this live. Give me some heart emojis, fam, if you loved and enjoyed this live. This live will be up on my YouTube channel later today. Also, family, if you haven't done so yet, check out my awareness journal, my daily awareness journal. Yesterday, I announced, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I announced that starting next month, sometime next month, I'm going to be starting a podcast that will be exclusively on my Patreon. So go ahead and sign up to that. What's my YouTube name? Just search me up, Anthony Minaya. Just search my name up. Or go on my highlights on my Instagram page. You can go on my highlights. There's a YouTube tab. Just click that. Let me see what's on here. Yo, fam. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. My mouth is dry as fuck. I love you. I appreciate you. You guys have a solid day. Take care, fam. Peace.